Hello, and a very warm welcome back to Grow English Mastery. My name is Scarlett, and I am so glad that you are here with me today. I hope you are feeling curious, open-minded, and ready to explore the ideas of a truly original thinker. Let me start with a question for you. How do you feel when you make a mistake? For most of us, making a mistake feels bad. It can be embarrassing, frustrating, or disappointing. We try to avoid mistakes. But what if I told you that there is a man who has built one of the most successful companies in the world based on the idea that mistakes are the most valuable things that can happen to us? A man who believes that every mistake is a puzzle and that solving that puzzle is the key to success. That man is Ray Dalio. He is the founder of Bridgewater Associates, the largest and one of the most successful hedge funds in history. But he is more than just a billionaire investor. He is a philosopher of success who has created a unique and powerful system for making decisions in life and in business. He calls this system his principles. Today, we are going to dive into the world of Ray Dalio. We will learn his story, understand his principles, and see how his radical ideas about truth and transparency can help us in our own lives. This is a lesson not just about finance, but about how to build a better version of yourself. In our lesson today, we have several clear and important goals. By the end of our time together, you will not only understand the powerful philosophy of Ray Dalio, but you will also have made significant strides in your English learning. First, we will expand your vocabulary with essential words related to systems, principles, and decision-making. We will learn words like principle, transparency, algorithm, and meritocracy. These are concepts that can help you think more clearly and systematically about your own goals. Second, we are going to master a fundamental grammar structure, the zero conditional. This is the if or when sentence that we use to talk about general truths, facts, and rules. It's the language of principles. It's how we describe cause and effect in a reliable, systematic way. Third, this lesson aims to show you a different way to think about success and failure. Ray Dalio's story teaches that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary part of the process of achieving success. We will explore his radical ideas, like radical transparency, and understand the powerful logic that makes them work. Finally, we want to be inspired to become more systematic thinkers in our own lives. Whether your goal is to learn English, advance in your career, or improve your relationships, Dalio's principles offer a practical roadmap for making better decisions and learning from your experiences. So, our goals are clear. New words for systematic thinking, the grammar of rules and facts, a new perspective on failure, and a practical guide for success. Let's begin with the early life of this extraordinary man. Ray Dalio's story does not begin with privilege or exceptional academic talent. He was born in 1949 and grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Queens, New York. He described himself as an ordinary kid who did not particularly like school. He found it boring and difficult to memorize facts that he couldn't see a practical use for. He was an independent thinker who preferred to figure things out for himself. His journey into the world of investing started at a very young age. To earn some pocket money, he worked as a caddy at a local golf course, carrying the bags for wealthy golfers. These golfers were often talking about the stock market. At the age of just 12, Ray took the money he had saved, about $300, and bought his first stock. The company was called Northeast Airlines. He chose it because it was the only company he had heard of that was selling for less than $5 per share. Soon after he bought it, the company was about to go bankrupt, but another company acquired it. As a result, his small investment tripled in value. He admits this was pure luck, but he was hooked. He had experienced the thrill of the market, and he loved the game. It was like a puzzle that he wanted to solve. He continued investing through his high school and college years. He went to Long Island University and then was accepted into Harvard Business School for his MBA. But he was not a traditional student. He was already forming his own unique ideas about how markets worked. He started to see the economy as a kind of machine with understandable cause and effect relationships. After finishing business school, he worked for a short time on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Then, in 1975, at the age of 26, he made a bold move. He started his own investment management company, Bridgewater Associates. He started it from his 2-bedroom apartment in New York City. It was just him. He had no clients, no staff, just his ideas and his determination. From this very humble beginning, he would go on to build the largest and most successful hedge fund in the world. Now, let's pause the story to focus on our grammar point for today, the zero conditional. This grammar structure is the perfect way to talk about Ray Dalio's principles because it is the conditional we use for rules, habits, and general truths. We use the zero conditional to talk about things that are always true. It describes a cause and effect that is a fact, not a future possibility. The formula is very simple. If or when plus present simple, then present simple. Notice we use the present simple in both parts of the sentence. Let's look at some simple examples. If you heat ice, it melts. This is a scientific fact. It's always true. When I am hungry, I eat something. This is a habit. It's what I always do in that situation. If the sun goes down, it gets dark. This is a general truth about the world. It is very important to understand the difference between the zero conditional and the first conditional, which we have studied before. The zero conditional talks about general truths. The first conditional talks about a specific possibility in the future. Compare these two sentences. Zero conditional. If I miss the bus, I am late for work. This means that every time I miss the bus, the result is the same. It's a general statement about my life. First conditional. If I miss the bus this afternoon, I will be late for my appointment. This is about a specific situation in the future. Now, let's connect this to Ray Dalio's work. His entire book, Principles, is a collection of zero conditional statements. They are his rules for reality. For example, a core idea from Dalio is, if you have a big goal, you have problems. He says this is a general truth of life. The path to achieving something great is filled with obstacles. Another one of his principles could be stated like this. When people at Bridgewater disagree, they use a system to resolve their differences. This is a rule, a habit of the company, and perhaps the most important one. If you make a mistake and you reflect on it, you learn a principle. This is the cause and effect relationship at the heart of his entire philosophy. Mistake plus reflection equals progress. Let's practice. I'll give you a cause, and you can complete the rule or general truth. If you don't practice English, what is the result? You could say, you don't improve, or you forget what you have learned. When a team works well together, what is the result? It achieves great things. The zero conditional is the language of systems, rules, and truths. Mastering it will allow you to speak with more authority and clarity about how you see the world. Now that we understand the language of principles, let's talk about how you can use Ray Dalio's ideas to practice your 4 key English skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. First, listening. Ray Dalio has created a wonderful 30-minute animated video called How the Economic Machine Works. You can find it easily on YouTube. It is one of the clearest explanations of the economy ever made. I want you to watch the first 5 minutes of this video. Your listening mission is to listen for cause and effect statements. Listen for sentences that say, when this happens, that happens. For example, he says, if I buy something, I spend money. When I spend money, that spending is someone else's income. This will train your ear to hear the logic of systems and processes. Second, speaking. It's time to create your own principles. I am going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it out loud, using the zero conditional. Here is the question. What is one rule or principle for being a good friend? Take a moment to think. Now answer out loud. Did you say something like, if you are a good friend, you listen more than you talk? Or, when your friend has a problem, you help them? Or, if you make a promise, you keep it? Stating your own principles out loud helps you clarify your thinking and practice this important grammar structure. Third, reading. There are many articles online that summarize Ray Dalio's key principles from his book. I want you to find one of these articles. As you read, your goal is to identify statements that are written as rules or general truths. They might not always use the word if or when, but they will have the same feeling of a universal rule. Then, find 5 new vocabulary words. You might find words like objective, feedback, algorithm, radical, or meritocracy. As always, write down the full sentence to lock the meaning in your memory. Finally, writing. Let's get personal with your principles. Your writing task is to write a short paragraph about your personal principles for being a successful learner. It could be for learning English or any other skill. Use the zero conditional at least twice. For example, I have 2 main principles for learning. First, if I study a little bit every day, I remember more than if I study a lot once a week. Consistency is key. Second, when I don't understand something, I ask for help immediately. It saves a lot of time and frustration. By doing these 4 activities, you are not just learning about Ray Dalio's ideas. You are starting to think in principles yourself, and you are practicing essential English skills at the same time. Now, let's dive deeper into the unique and fascinating world of Ray Dalio's company, Bridgewater Associates. To understand Ray Dalio, you have to understand the machine he built. From its humble beginnings in his apartment, Bridgewater grew and grew. Dalio's deep and unconventional analysis of global markets and economies allowed him to make incredibly successful investments for his clients. Today, Bridgewater manages over $120 billion, making it the largest hedge fund in the world. But what makes Bridgewater truly special is not just its size or its success. It is its unique culture. Dalio didn't want to build just another company. He wanted to build an idea meritocracy. A meritocracy is a system where the best people and the best ideas win. An idea meritocracy means that it doesn't matter if an idea comes from Ray Dalio himself or from a new employee who just started last week. If the idea is the best, the idea wins. To achieve this, he implemented two famous and controversial concepts: radical truth and radical transparency. Radical truth means that people are expected to say what they really think. You are not supposed to hide your opinions to be polite. You are expected to voice your criticisms directly and openly. Radical transparency means that almost everything that happens at Bridgewater is out in the open for everyone to see. Most meetings are recorded, on video and audio. These recordings are available for almost any employee in the company to review. Why would he create such a strange and intense environment? He believes that this is the only way to get to the truth. In most companies, people hide their true thoughts. They are afraid to criticize their boss. They engage in office politics. Dalio wanted to create a system that eliminates all of that. He believes that ego and emotions are the biggest barriers to good decision-making. Radical transparency forces people to be objective and to focus on what is true, not on who is right. Of course, the most important part of this system is how you deal with mistakes. At Bridgewater, when something goes wrong, a bad investment, a failed project, it is not hidden. It is examined in detail. The goal is to find the root cause of the mistake and to learn a principle from it. A principle is a rule that will help you avoid making the same mistake in the future. These principles are then written down and even programmed into computer systems or algorithms that help with future decision-making. The foundation for this whole philosophy came from Ray Dalio's single greatest failure. In the early 1980s, he had become very successful and confident. He analyzed the global economy and predicted that the U.S. was heading for a depression. He was so confident that he bet everything on this prediction. And he was completely wrong. The U.S. stock market began a huge bull run, and Bridgewater lost almost all its money. He was so broke that he had to borrow money from his father to pay his bills and had to let go of the few employees he had. He has said that this was the most painful experience of his life, but he also says it was the best thing that ever happened to him. It taught him a lesson in humility. It made him realize that he could be wrong. This failure forced him to change his entire approach. He decided he needed to build a system of decision-making that was smarter than he was. He needed to find the smartest people who disagreed with him and try to understand their reasoning. This painful mistake was the birth of the principles of radical truth and transparency and the birth of Bridgewater as we know it today. It was the fire that forged his philosophy. Ray Dalio's journey and his philosophy are a goldmine of inspirational lessons that we can apply to our own lives, far beyond the world of finance. The most powerful lesson is his approach to failure. He has reframed the concept of failure entirely. In his view, a mistake is not a negative thing to be ashamed of. It is a positive thing, an opportunity. He says, pain plus reflection, progress. The pain of making a mistake signals that something is wrong. If you take the time to reflect on that pain, to diagnose the mistake, you will learn something new. You will grow. This is a revolutionary idea. Think about your English learning. Every mistake you make, a grammar error, a mispronounced word, is a gift. It's a signal showing you exactly what you need to work on. If you can learn to see your mistakes as puzzles to be solved, not as failures to be ashamed of, you will learn much, much faster. Another inspirational lesson is the power of creating systems. Ray Dalio doesn't just rely on his own memory or discipline. He turns his principles into systems, habits, and even computer algorithms. He systematizes his success. We can do this on a smaller scale in our own lives. Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes. A system is something you can rely on every day. For example, instead of saying, I will try to study English more, create a system. Every day after I brush my teeth in the morning, I will spend 15 minutes reviewing vocabulary. This is a system. It connects a new habit to an existing one. If you build good systems, you don't need to think about motivation. You just follow the system, and progress happens automatically. A third, more personal lesson from Ray Dalio is his decades-long practice of transcendental meditation. He has said that meditation has been the single biggest influence on his success. He practices it twice a day. He says it helps him to be calm, centered, and creative. It allows him to see reality more clearly, without the noise of his own emotions. In our busy, stressful world, this is a powerful piece of practical advice. Finding a way to quiet your mind, whether it's through meditation, walking in nature, or listening to music, can help you to be more objective and make better decisions in all areas of your life, including your learning. So, learning from failure, building reliable systems, and finding inner calm. These are 3 powerful, practical lessons from Ray Dalio that can help us all build a more successful and meaningful life. As we get close to the end of our lesson today, I want to talk directly to you about your mindset. Your way of thinking is the engine that drives your learning journey. The philosophy of Ray Dalio provides a clear and powerful model for a growth-oriented mindset. First, be hyper-realistic. This is one of Dalio's core ideas. It means accepting reality exactly as it is, not as you wish it were. Don't engage in wishful thinking. In your English learning, this means you must be honest with yourself about your current level. It's not productive to say, I wish I was fluent. It's much more productive to say, okay, my current level is B1. My listening is stronger than my speaking. This is the reality. Now, what is my plan to improve from here? Dealing with the truth of your situation is the first step toward making real progress. Second, think of yourself as a machine that you can design and improve. Dalio sees his life and his work as a machine. You have a goal. You design a machine, a plan, a system to achieve that goal. You operate the machine. You look at the outcomes. If the outcomes are not what you want, it means there is a flaw in your machine or your design. Your job is to find that flaw, that weakness, that mistake, and fix it. This is a powerful, objective way to look at self-improvement. If you are not learning English as fast as you want, don't get emotional. Be an engineer. Look at your learning machine. Is the design flawed? Is your system for studying vocabulary inefficient? Are you not getting enough speaking practice? Diagnose the problem and change the design. Third, embrace radical open-mindedness. Dalio believes that the biggest risk we face is our own ego and our blind spots. Radical open-mindedness is the humility to accept that you might be wrong. It is the practice of genuinely trying to see things through another person's eyes, especially if they disagree with you. For a language learner, this is crucial. Be open to feedback. If a teacher or a friend corrects your pronunciation, don't be defensive. Be grateful. They are helping you see one of your blind spots. Be open to trying new learning methods. Your way might not be the best way. The goal is to find what works, not to prove that you are right. So, a mindset of hyper-realism, thinking like an engineer about your own progress, and embracing radical open-mindedness. This systematic approach to self-improvement, inspired by Ray Dalio, can profoundly change the way you learn. And so, we conclude our journey into the systematic mind of Ray Dalio. We have explored the philosophy of a man who turned his most painful failure into the foundation for his greatest success, building the world's largest hedge fund on a culture of principles, truth, and transparency. Let's quickly recap what we have accomplished together in this lesson. We have learned the story of his journey, from a caddy at a golf course to a titan of the financial world. We explored his unique and powerful ideas of radical truth, radical transparency, and the concept of an idea meritocracy. We have added valuable words to our vocabulary related to systems and principles. We also mastered the zero conditional, the language of rules and facts, and saw how it differs from the first conditional. We also discussed practical ways you can apply his philosophy to your own learning of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Most importantly, we have learned a new way to think about mistakes. Ray Dalio's story teaches us that mistakes are not to be feared or hidden. They are to be embraced, studied, and learned from. He has shown us that success is a systematic process of setting goals, facing problems, diagnosing those problems to their root cause, and designing new principles to improve. Pain plus reflection equals progress. I hope you leave this lesson today feeling empowered. Empowered to look at your own mistakes in a new light. Empowered to be more systematic in your learning. And empowered to design the life you want to have. Now, it is your turn to think like Ray Dalio. Using the zero conditional, what is one principle or rule that you try to live by? It can be a simple rule for work, for life, or for learning. Share your personal principle in the comments section below. I believe we can all learn from each other's wisdom. If you have found this lesson valuable and thought-provoking, please give it a thumbs up. It helps our channel enormously and lets us know we are on the right track. Please also share it with a friend who might appreciate a systematic approach to success. And finally, if you have not yet subscribed to Grow English Mastery, please do so now and be sure to click the notification bell. You won't want to miss our future lessons. Thank you so much for your deep focus and open-mindedness today. It has been a pleasure to be your guide. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and keep improving. My name is Scarlett, and I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson. Goodbye for now.